Sunlight, thick as honey, and dappled with the dancing shadows of an ancient oak, painted the Johnson backyard in patterns of gold and green. Chen, a woman whose practicality was as much a part of her as the sturdy hiking boots she wore, was not having a good Tuesday. Her meticulously organised tool shed had just been invaded by a determined raccoon, and her prized heirloom rose bushes was suffering from an unexplained case of wilting. But her only focus was the small, terrified creature clinging to the highest, most precarious branch of the oak. A tiny, fluffy ball of ginger fur named Mittens, utterly stranded after a failed leap from the fence. Mittens wasn't just high, she was high. The branch Maya needed to reach was thick and sturdy, but it curved outwards at a sharp angle, ending just a foot from the trunk, a perfect dead end for a kitten with no idea of gravity. Maya's usual methodical approach was replaced by frantic energy. She'd already tried the ladder, but the uneven ground made it wobble dangerously. The fence was too far. The only option was the tree itself. She took a deep breath, the scent of damp earth and crushed mint from the garden beneath her feet filling her nose. "Okay, Mittens, just hold on, Mommy's coming. Don't you dare let go." She placed her foot on the lowest, gnarled root, testing its grip. "Come on, Maya, you climbed that mountain in Colorado. This is just backyard elevation." Maya began the climb with practised ease, her movements economical, using the natural contours of the bark. Her fingers found purchase in the grooves, her boots found tiny ledges. She moved with the quiet confidence of someone who'd spent years hiking, not just gardening. She reached the lower branches, the trunk thick and reassuring. The branch holding Mittens was about 6 feet up, the angle making it look like the kitten was perched on a tiny, dangerous platform. Maya stretched, her arm reaching, her fingers brushing the soft fur of the kitten's tail. But as Maya shifted her weight to pull Mittens closer, her foot slipped on a patch of damp moss. Her heart lurched. The branch she was standing on groaned under her sudden shift, a deep, ominous creak that vibrated up through her boots. She threw her arms out, but it was too late. The branch, weakened by years of weather, gave way with a sickening crack. Maya tumbled forward, not down, but out, her body pinning her against the thick trunk of the main oak, her legs trapped beneath the broken branch that now lay across her lower half. She was wedged tight, her arms pinned by the trunk and the heavy limb, her feet barely touching the ground. Mittens, startled by the sudden movement, let out a terrified mew and scrambled back up the trunk, disappearing into the dense canopy above. Maya was alone, trapped and utterly, mortifyingly stuck. Okay, Maya, deep breaths. Just breathe. Mittens is safe. You just need to get unstuck. Easy. Just wiggle." She tried to move her leg, but the branch digs in. Her voice rose again, laced with frustration. "Stupid, stubborn branch. Why did you have to be that branch?" Her frantic, muffled cries, "Help, please! Ben, anyone?" were swallowed by the rustling leaves and the distant hum of a lawn-mower. She strained her neck, peering down the trunk, her heart pounding against the rough bark. How long had she been stuck? 5 minutes? 10? The embarrassment was a hot flush beneath her skin, hotter than the afternoon sun. This was ridiculous. She was a competent adult, a homeowner, a person who could fix a leaky faucet, not a damsel. The lawn-mower's engine cut off with a cough. The sudden silence was almost louder than the noise. Then footsteps, light, deliberate, crunching on the dry grass. Maya's heart leapt into her throat. Well, look what the cat dragged in, or rather climbed into, or fell into. Maya craned her neck, her face burning. Ben Miller, a neighbour of 5 years, stood below, hands resting on the handle of his lawn-mower, a slow, utterly infuriating grin spreading across his face. He wore his usual khaki shorts and a faded band T-shirt, a gardening hat perched on his head. His eyes, crinkled with laughter, scanned her predicament, her legs pinned, her arms pinned, her face a picture of utter helplessness against the tree. "Ben, this is not a time for jokes. I'm stuck. Can you give me a hand?" Ben chuckled, a low, warm sound. He leaned the lawn-mower against the fence, then walked slowly around the tree, taking in the scene. His tone shifted to mock seriousness. "Stuck? Stuck?" My dear Maya Chen, you've been stuck in this very tree for long enough for me to finish mowing my front lawn. I've seen you fix a leaky gutter, replace a broken fence post and organise that community garden with military precision. But this, he gestured upwards with exaggerated drama, this is the classic textbook definition of a damsel in distress, a little kitten, a little tree, a little unfortunate branch. Truly the plot thickens. A damsel in distress? I am not a damsel in distress, Ben. I was rescuing a kitten. I was climbing a tree. I am perfectly capable of climbing trees. I just slipped on a mossy branch. It's not my fault the tree decided to be dramatic. Ooh, dramatic tree. Very dramatic. You know, I was just thinking about how you spent all morning trying to get that raccoon out of your tool shed. Real heroic stuff. And now you're the one needing the rescue, the damsel. Seriously though, Maya, you're okay? You're not hurt? Just wedged? I'm fine. Just stuck and mortified. And Mittens is probably safe now up in the branches. She's fine. Just get me down, okay? Before I develop a permanent case of tree fear. Ben nodded, his grin softening into something more concerned. He stepped up to assess the branch. Okay. No more damsel talk. My bad. You're not a damsel. You're Maya. Who climbed a tree to save a kitten and then got stuck, which, honestly, is pretty impressive. Most people would have just yelled for help and waited. You actually tried to fix it. He carefully tested the broken branch, then gently lifted it away from Maya's legs. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3, wiggle. Ben's movements were deliberate, unhurried. He didn't yank, he adjusted, using his body to lever the heavy branch just enough. Maya, bracing herself against the trunk, pushed with her legs and pulled with her arms, her muscles screaming in protest. With a final, grating scrape of wood on wood, the branch shifted. Oh, thank goodness! Finally! She slid down the trunk, landing with a soft thump on the grass, legs wobbling. She took a deep, shuddering breath, then laughed, a real, relieved sound. Ben Miller, you are the most annoying, most helpful neighbour ever. I swear I'm never climbing that tree again. Wouldn't dream of stopping you from rescuing kittens, Maya. Just maybe check for moss before you plant your feet, and maybe skip the damsel bit in your internal monologue. It's not your style. Come on, you look like you need a cold drink. And maybe a little reassurance that you're not actually a damsel. You're the kind of person who fixes things, including her. He nodded towards the oak, where a small ginger head peeked out from the leaves. Mittens gave a tentative, soft mew. Maya looked up at the oak, at the tiny, safe silhouette of Mittens in the leaves. She looked at Ben, his face not mocking any more, but genuinely concerned, and amused in a way that felt like friendship, not ridicule. The heat of embarrassment cooled, replaced by a warm, solid feeling. She wasn't a damsel. She was Maya Chen, who climbed trees, got stuck, and had a neighbour who would tease her while still being the one to pull her out. The raccoon could wait, the roses could wait. This moment, this slightly ridiculous, deeply human moment of being stuck and then being seen, was exactly where she needed to be. Thanks, Ben, seriously, for not calling me damsel for the rest of the week, and for the cold drink. She smiled, a real easy smile that reached her eyes. Though I'm going to tell the raccoon you were the one who rescued me. It's only fair. Tell the raccoon whatever you want, Maya. But just remember next time you climb that tree, maybe send a text, or a pigeon. A pigeon's less likely to get stuck. Seriously though, you're not a damsel, you're Maya. And Maya doesn't get stuck for long, you just get a little help finding the right branch. The late afternoon sun dipped lower, painting the backyard in hues of amber and rose. Maya stood on the cool grass, the scent of earth and pine still lingering. The fear was gone, replaced by quiet satisfaction. She'd saved Mittens, she'd been stuck. And she'd been teased, not mocked. The label damsel in distress didn't fit her, not even for a moment. It was just a moment, a funny, human moment. And the best part? It was a moment she shared with a neighbour who saw her, not just her predicament. She looked up at the oak, where Mittens was now safely curled on a high branch, and smiled. She'd climb that tree again, maybe with a better grip, and maybe, just maybe, she'd invite Ben for that cold drink before she climbed. The raccoon could wait. The world was full of little rescues, and sometimes the most important rescue was the one that reminded you you weren't alone.